Good evening, everyone. My name is Andre Arceneaux. I was born and raised here in Lafayette. I'm married to an amazing woman and I have 3 wonderful sons, but my life isn't perfect. And I'm okay with that. But growing up, chasing after perfection was kind of my thing. It's what I did. In grade school, it was all about being the teacher's pet. I was on a pursuit to be perfect, and I was trying to be number one. I always wanted the best grades. I always wanted to shine and outshine everybody else. In high school, it was all about my extracurricular activity. So much so that I had ulcers, and my doctor said it was all because of my type A personality. When I was in my 20s, I started working in a ministry here in town, and I was a worship leader, a youth pastor, and in the media department. But my pursuit for perfection kind of started allowing me to kind of focus on my appearance too much. So I started running 3-4 times a day and not really paying attention to what I ate. And when people would look at me, they would say, "Man, Andre, you are in great shape, you're healthy," but really I was not in great shape. I was sick on the inside, I was hurting on the inside, but all that time I had kind of set up in my mind a picture of what the perfect man looked like. In my mind, the perfect man was strong, he was healthy, but he didn't ask for help. But luckily for me, in May of 2008, I met a wonderful woman at a church function named Amanda. In November of 2008, we got engaged. In December of 2008, we got married. It was a bit of a whirlwind romance. A few months later, we moved to Kansas City, Missouri. And in my mind, I was like, well, good, great. I moved away. All my problems are going to be gone. I'm not going to have any more issues. But as I think many of us know, you never really hide from your issues. Whenever you run, they're still there. They still pop up. So here I am in Kansas City, Missouri, and I'm thinking that all my problems are going to be gone. I think that I have beaten this pursuit of perfection. But wouldn't you know, it kind of rears its ugly head. And here I am struggling, now not only trying to be the perfect man, but trying to be the perfect husband, the perfect father, and the perfect son to my parents that are now 12 hours away. After a few years, we finally decided, all right, let's move back home to Louisiana where there's not snow and there's actually good food. But of course, we're back home, and now all these things are kind of starting to stir up back inside of me even stronger. And now I'm starting to have all these weird physical things that are happening to me. These weird symptoms that are kind of out of the ordinary. I'm having itching all over my body. I'm having terrible headaches every single day. I'm having extreme fatigue. I start having tremors that make it impossible to shave or put my contacts in. We're kind of worried, obviously, because I stop eating and I start losing a lot of weight, and we don't know what's going on. We start seeing specialists from Oxnard in New Orleans and LSU Medical Health in Baton Rouge and doctors all over Acadiana, and nobody can give us a clear answer on what is going on with my health. Amanda's terrified, I'm terrified, our boys don't know what's happening. So finally one day, I guess you can say it was the straw that broke the camel's back, Amanda walked in on me. It was June 22nd, 2014, a Sunday morning. Amanda was getting ready for church, and I was curled up in the fetal position on the sofa. All I remember is that I was holding my head. I just remember my head felt like it was about to explode. Amanda called my parents. She called her parents. They all came over, and I believe it was her dad loaded me into a vehicle, which at this point wasn't hard because I only weighed 150 pounds. And Amanda rushed me to LGMC. Now, everything else I'm about to tell you, it's basically just what Amanda has told me. Because of the 7 days I was hospitalized, I only remember the last 3. But I was given basically every test under the sun. I had a spinal tap in the ER triage of LGMC. I had a bone marrow biopsy. I had CAT scans, MRIs. I had blood tests every single day. And again, Amanda can tell you all the 10-cent words and all the doctors and how they all wore a mask every day because they thought I had everything from meningitis to MS. But they still weren't able to give me a clear, clean-cut diagnosis. It wasn't until a few months later when Dr. Adam Foreman here in Lafayette was able to diagnose me with having neurosarcoidosis. Sarcoidosis is a disease that's similar to an immune disorder where my body actually creates little clumps of cells called granuloma. Unlike cancer, these clumps of cells cannot be treated. So whereas you can have chemotherapy or some kind of treatment for cancer, I just have to kind of manage my symptoms. And with this management comes a great joy bundle of side effects. One of my favorite is yelling at children, both mine and strangers. At 34 years old, I have cataracts, I have bone density issues, and the wonderful thing about neurosarcoidosis, this is kind of the jackpot of it all, is only 5 to 7% of all sarcoidosis cases take place in the brain or central nervous system. I often joke that I should have bought Powerball tickets this past go-around. But out of all the side effects, there is one side effect that I'm grateful for. That picture of perfection that I had is completely shattered. It's impossible to be perfect whenever you have to have a GPS to drive around your hometown. It's impossible to be perfect when you can't remember the 4-digit PIN number you've been having for 10 years. It's impossible to be perfect when sometimes you forget your own children's names. This disease and the treatment has given me a new start. Every day is like a new beginning for me. I remember whenever I came back from the hospital, waking up in my own bed for the first time in 7 days, and going outside and sitting on my porch and journaling, and for the first time in months, actually being able to feel my face, actually being able to touch my face and feel my fingertips on my face. My brain had been swollen so much, the gray matter in my brain had begun to deteriorate, so I had no nerve endings that I could actually touch. There was no connection there. So for the first time in months, I was able to feel the wind on my face. I was able to smell the dirt outside. I was able to actually hear the birds and the chickens in my neighbors' yards. I saw my boys playing outside, and I wrote down in my journal, I'm thankful for new beginnings. I'm thankful that I have another chance to start over. All this has taught me that, my life may not be perfect, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you.